A baby boy was left in the forest, but an ape found him, raised him, and he grew up wild, strong, fearless, and knowing nothing about humans. One day, Princess Adana got lost in the forest, and a deadly python almost took her life. The bush boy saved her, and though he couldn't speak, she fell in love with him. But when the palace guards found them, trouble began. The bush boy and the princess. Have you ever wondered what would happen if a baby grew up in the forest? A long time ago, in a faraway land, something like this truly happened. A small baby boy was left alone in the deep forest. No one knew where he came from. His parents were never found. He was too little to walk or even talk. The forest was full of danger, snakes, lions, and wild animals, but something strange and powerful happened that day. An ape, a big strong mother ape, saw the crying baby. At first, she wanted to leave him, but his small voice touched her heart. She carried him the same way she carried her own baby. If you enjoyed this story, to this point don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell for more amazing tales. She gave him fruits, leaves, and water from the stream. The boy drank and ate. Slowly, he stopped crying. From that moment, the ape became his mother, and the boy became part of the ape's family. The ape's family lived high in the trees. They taught the baby how to climb, how to swing from one tree to another, and how to find food. He chewed bananas, wild berries, and soft plants. He didn't know about rice or bread. He only knew the forest. When he crawled, the apes clapped. When he tried to stand, they beat their chests in joy. He grew stronger and wilder every day. Years passed, and the boy forgot he was human. He walked on all fours. He slept on tree branches. He fought with young apes, and sometimes, even with wild animals. The forest was his home. The ape was his mother. He did not know villages, people, or kings. His world was only the forest. The forest boy had no name. The apes called him with sounds. He answered with growls and beats on his chest. He was no longer a baby. He was now a young boy of the bush, fast like the wind, strong like the trees, and fearless like the leopard. The boy grew up knowing only the language of the apes. He copied them in everything. When they scratched their heads, he scratched his. When they beat their chest, he beat his too. When they roared, he roared louder. He was no longer weak. He was a fighter. He often played by wrestling with other animals. Sometimes he rode on the ground with young apes. Sometimes he even fought with wild dogs that came near. Once, he fought with a bush pig and came out with scratches on his face. But he was happy. Pain did not stop him. The apes loved him more for being brave. Every morning, the ape mother took him to the river. He learned how to swim with the monkeys. He dived into the water without fear. He chased fishes with his hands. Sometimes, he caught one and bit into it raw. He laughed like the apes. His teeth grew sharp, his muscles hard. He was more animal than man. The boy had no clothes. Leaves and dirt covered his body. His hair grew long and rough like the mane of a lion. He had no mirror, so he never knew he looked different from the apes. He thought he was one of them. In his mind, there were no humans, no villages, only trees, rivers, and animals. But the forest was not just for play. There were dangers. Snakes, leopards, and hunters moved around. The boy learned how to hide, how to climb trees quickly, and how to throw stones to scare animals away. The forest trained him every day. He was becoming a true child of the wild. Far away from the forest, there was a great village. In that village lived a king and his only daughter, Princess Adana. Adana was very beautiful. Her eyes shone like stars. Her skin was smooth like palm oil. Everyone loved her. But she was curious. She loved to walk near the edge of the forest, even though her father warned her not to. One day, While playing with her maidens, she went too deep inside the forest. She wanted to pick bright flowers and chase butterflies. She laughed and ran without fear. But soon, she looked around and saw no one. The maidens were gone. The trees closed in. The path disappeared. Adana was lost. She called and called, but no answer came. She walked deeper, hoping to find her way back. But the forest was wide and endless. She grew tired and afraid. Her pretty clothes tore on branches. Her shoes got stuck in the mud. Her soft hands became dirty. For the first time, the princess cried. Back in the village, the king was angry and afraid. His daughter was missing. He called his warriors. "Search for my child," he shouted. The men ran into the forest with spears and torches. They searched day and night, but the forest swallowed them. They came back with nothing. The princess was gone. The king was heartbroken. The villagers whispered. Some said the forest had eaten her. Others said the spirits of the trees had taken her. But only the forest boy and the ape family would soon know the truth. Deep in the forest, the princess wandered. She was weak and hungry. She drank water from a stream with her hands. She plucked fruits but could not eat much. She was afraid of the strange sounds around her. Owls hooted. Monkeys screamed. Branches cracked. Her heart beat fast. As she walked, she came upon a clearing. There, in the middle, lay a huge python. Its body was long, thick, and shining. Its tongue flickered in and out. Its eyes glowed like fire. The princess froze. She had never seen such a snake before. It moved slowly, circling her. The snake was waiting for her to make one wrong move. The python hissed, wrapping itself closer. Adana screamed. No one heard her, except one person, the wild boy. From a tree above, he had been watching. He saw the snake move toward the princess. He did not know what she was, but he knew danger. He leaped down with a roar. The boy picked up a big stick and hit the python. The snake hissed loudly and struck at him. But the boy was fast. He jumped, roared, and hit again. The ape mother also came, beating her chest and screaming to scare the snake. The fight was long, but the boy was strong. At last, the python gave up and slid away into the dark forest. The princess was shaking. She looked at the wild boy. His hair was rough, his body dirty, his eyes wild. But to her, he was a hero. Her heart beat fast, not in fear, but in something she did not understand. She fell in love with the bush boy from that very moment. The princess looked at the boy with wide eyes. She whispered softly, "Thank you." But the boy did not answer. He only made sounds like the apes. He did not know the language of humans. He tilted his head and stared at her. He had never seen such a creature. She looked soft, beautiful, and strange. She tried to touch him, but the ape mother pulled him back, warning him. The ape made loud sounds, telling him not to stay close. But the boy refused. He liked the princess. She was not like the animals. Something inside him wanted her near. The princess smiled and followed him. She was not afraid anymore. She ate the fruits he gave her. She drank from the stream where he drank. She sat beside him on the trees. Though he did not speak, she felt safe. She felt at home with him in the forest. Days passed. The princess and the bush boy stayed together. She sang songs to him, and though he did not understand the words, he listened with joy. Sometimes he touched her hair, wondering why it was so smooth. Sometimes he gave her flowers. They laughed in their own way. They became friends, even lovers. But the ape mother was not happy. She warned the boy again and again. "This is not one of us," her cries seemed to say. "She belongs somewhere else." But the bush boy refused to let go. He wanted her. He kept her in the forest with him. Back in the village, the king was restless. His men had searched everywhere, but the princess was not found. He offered rewards, but no hunter brought good news. Some people began to lose hope. The king feared he might never see his daughter again. But in the forest, things were different. The princess had grown used to living with the bush boy. She had stopped crying. She no longer wanted to leave. She loved the freedom of the forest, the rivers, the trees, and most of all, the boy who had saved her. She no longer thought about her father's palace. The boy and the princess often played near the stream. They chased each other, through water, and laughed together. She taught him simple words, pointing at things and calling their names. Slowly, he repeated after her, though in broken sounds. It was the beginning of his learning. She gave him a name, Oba, which meant king, because to her, he was her hero. But their happiness could not last forever. One morning, while they were at the stream, something happened. Palace guards who were still searching entered the forest. They heard laughter and followed the sound. They hid behind bushes and saw the princess with the strange boy. The guards were shocked. "It is the princess," they whispered. "She is alive. But who is this wild boy?" They waited no more. They jumped out with spears and caught her hand. She screamed. The bush boy roared like a lion and tried to fight them. But they were many, and they beat him with sticks. They tied him like an animal. The princess cried, "Leave him. He saved me." But the guards did not listen. They carried her away and dragged the wild boy behind them. The news spread quickly in the village. "The princess has been found," people shouted. The king rushed out and saw his daughter. He hugged her with tears in his eyes. He was happy, but then his eyes fell on the bush boy. He frowned. "Who is this creature?" he asked. The guards bowed and said, "We found him with the princess in the forest. He fought like an animal. We think he is mad." The king looked again. The boy was dirty, wild, and half naked. He growled instead of speaking. The king shook his head. "Lock him up," he ordered. "He must not stay near my daughter." The princess begged her father. "No, father. He saved my life. He fought the python. He took care of me." But the king did not listen. To him, the boy was a danger. He belonged to the wild, not the palace. The villagers gathered to see the strange boy. Some laughed. Some feared him. Children threw stones at him. "Bush boy. Ape child," they mocked. But the princess cried. She wanted to be with him. She wanted him free. That night, the ape mother and her family came near the village. They had followed the boy. They hid in the shadows, beating their chests in anger. They wanted to rescue their own. The village was about to face something it had never seen before. When morning came, the apes entered the village. They screamed and threw branches. They overturned baskets, scattered food, and beat the ground with their fists. The villagers ran in fear. They had never seen such boldness from animals before. The king ordered his guards to fight them. Spears were thrown, stones were hurled. But the apes were many and strong. They carried the bush boy's voice in their hearts. They would not live without him. They beat drums of war with their hands on their chest. The bush boy heard the noise from where he was tied. He struggled to break free. He roared like a lion, calling his family. The apes answered with louder screams. The princess ran out, shouting, "Stop! Please, stop!" But no one listened. Chaos filled the air. The villagers now feared that keeping the bush boy was the reason for this trouble. They whispered, "Maybe he is not just a boy. Maybe he is a spirit child. Maybe the forest will punish us. Fear grew in every heart. Some wanted him killed. Others wanted him freed. The king was confused. That was only the beginning of the troubles. The village had called down the anger of the forest. And the bush boy was at the center of it all. The battle between the apes and the villagers continued for days. Farms were destroyed. Streams were polluted. Food became scarce. The villagers cried out to the king, "Send the boy away. He is the cause of this suffering." The king's heart was heavy. He looked at his daughter, who refused to eat or smile. She sat alone, thinking only of the boy in chains. "Father," she said, "if you send him away, I will go with him. I love him." The king was shocked. "How can you love a wild boy?" he asked. But Adana's eyes were firm. "He saved me. He is my heart." The bush boy, though tired, kept struggling. His spirit was strong. He wanted his family, his forest, his freedom. He could not understand why these strange people caged him. He beat his chest until it bled. His eyes were full of fire. The ape mother waited outside the village with her family. She did not give up. She wanted her son back. She roared every night, shaking the villagers' hearts. They could not sleep. Babies cried. Old people trembled. The forest and the village were no longer at peace. The king finally called his elders. "What shall we do?" he asked. Some said, "Kill the boy." Others said, "Return him to the forest." The matter was heavy. The king decided to free the princess from pain. "Take the boy back to the forest," he said. "Let him go. Let the apes take him. We cannot fight the forest forever." The guards dragged the boy out and cut his ropes. The apes screamed with joy, rushing to him. They hugged him and beat their chests in victory. The princess ran forward. She held the boy's hand. "Do not go without me," she cried. The boy looked at her, confused. He loved her but did not understand her words. The apes pulled him away. The princess fell to the ground, weeping. The villagers carried her back. From that day strange things began to happen. Crops failed. Rain stopped. Wild animals entered farms. The people whispered, "The forest is angry. The boy is gone, but his spirit is still with us." Fear grew everywhere. The king prayed to the gods, but peace did not return. The villagers knew this was only the beginning of their troubles. The boy of the forest, the ape's son, had left his mark. The princess still dreamed of him every night. The apes still watched the village from afar. The story was not over. It was only the beginning. Sometimes, what we don't understand, we fear. But love sees no difference between wild and human. Respect nature, respect life, and never forget, the forest keeps its secrets. If you enjoyed this story, remember to subscribe and ring the bell so you don't miss the next tales.